Don't you wanna go back to that same old place? Sweet home, Chicago.
Welcome to the Neighborhood
Come
Pulse.
on.
Wherever you are in life, you never forget the neighborhood. This is the show that talks all about real estate. Hear it from the industry professionals. Join host Kevin Callback from Realty Executive Cornerstones to learn what the Neighborhood Pulse is. You can reach Kevin out there anytime. Kevin Callback, he will call back. And of course, the Neighborhood Pulse brought to you through the financial support of our good friends over at Mobile Accounting Inc. 224-321-6859, www.mobile.tax. All right, today, farming. And we don't mean vegetables.
That's it.
Hey, Kevin, welcome back.
Happy Friday, brother.
Happy Friday,
Hope
my
you're having
friend.
an amazing day. As we know, it is Freedom Friday. Break the chains that bind you, whatever they may be. And it's and today we're talking. So man, it's just a crazy world out there, and I love the weather and the activity and everything that's going on. Everybody seems to be so upbeat recently.
Yeah,
as it's just been amazing. It's just been this energy, and in the outside, everybody is just kind of fired up. I don't know if it's the weather. I don't know what the deal is, but I'm glad to be alive today.
Sweet home Chicago, right?
Sweet
It's the best
home
time of the year
Chicago.
here in Chicago, right?
Amen. That's it. It's a little hot, but today's amazing.
Playing around a little bit with the intro. I like it.
Oh,
New
yeah.
intro there.
That's
Sounds
it.
good.
That
Yeah.
is awesome. Sweet home Chicago. Not everybody's in Chicago. I get it, but I'm sure you're jealous.
But you know what? I don't care where you are in this big blue marble. When you hear that, you always tap your foot and start singing.
That's right. That's a good song. I love it. The
It
Blues
is.
Brothers, right?
That's
Amen.
right.
So that's it. Today we're talking about farming. Farming
Yeah.
is, it feels so. If you don't know what farming is you pick an area to market to and educate the folks and get to know them and get down to ground level, grassroots campaigns of meeting people, knowing them, getting to them to trust you and understand that you understand the market and that you know what's going on in the general area, right? So there's a lot that goes into that. You don't just gonna say, oh, you know what? I'm going to pick this block here and I'm going to start, send postcards and be done with it, right? There's actually a nice process you should follow. And we do have some documentation you can ask for online there. So feel free to do that and we'll get you some information on farming. So the first thing, I guess, when you're looking at farming is picking an area.
Yeah.
So you got to pick an area and you say, okay, what area am I going to use? And there's a number of things you want to take into consideration. What size is your farm going to be? And that's going to be based on a couple of different things. It's going to be based on size.
Yeah.
You want size. You want your turnover rates, right? How often they turn over. And the way you're going to look at that, and you're going to look at your budget. How big is your budget to send them out? Because it's not just one postcard and done. It's a repetitive motion and different types of medium they're sending out, rather than just a postcard. You can be doing some other things, right? So as you're picking your farm and you're looking at your budget, what can we afford? What can we do? Is ask agents in your office, ask agents in the area. Ask your local board. Most people in our area anyway are very helpful and willing to share any information they have and insight. And start talking to those folks, because they may know, they may be like, that's a pretty good farm over there. You also want to look and see if somebody's already working that farm. Because if they're working that farm, it could be tough.
Sure.
Especially if you got somebody that's ingrained, right?
So are you choosing based on the style of home that you would like to sell, the price point that you would like to sell? Is that where you start farming, or
no? So we don't look at the dollar value. We look at so a lot of times people want to pick a neighborhood that they're in. So maybe I live here and I already know some people and they're going to help spread that word for me. When you farm, you want to be fair to everybody and maybe make sure don't discriminate against.
You want to
anybody,
watch the equal housing
authority. There is some worries there. If you just farm rich neighborhoods,
right?
They'll say, well, why didn't you farm here? And there's what do you guys call it by you?
Redlining.
We call it red.
Yeah.
Right. But you have a department that looks over it and says, okay, this is approved.
Fair lending.
fair lending, right? Absolutely.
Fair lending laws we have to watch, and
Right,
equal
absolutely.
credit opportunity, all that good stuff.
And we're nobody's looking to discriminate. We're looking to make
Right.
some money. We help people sell their homes,
Yeah.
move into the neighborhood, stuff like that. So you're looking at, one, is there another agent that is in that neighborhood already farming it?
Yep.
And if so, how ingrained are they? Are they a big name? Are they productive? Are they selling some homes in your neighborhood? And if so, that might not be the neighborhood for you. You might want to pick something a little bit different, because it is a campaign that you're sending out there, and it's going to cost you a lot of money. Farming can be as easy as knocking doors, but we'll talk about that. So you look at who's in the area, who's working it already, how big is your farm. You want to take a number. Usually a farm is between 500 and 1,000, depending on what your budget is. As you're looking at that, you want to look at turnover rate. So when you look at a farm, you want to go into your MLS and you want to start doing some research. You can use Remine. You can use a company called Offers, OFFRS.com. They charge a fee, obviously. But they'll show you like the scores and the turnover rate in a certain area. You can also do it through your MLS, and there's a number of statistics you can get through there. For us, Remine is very helpful. So that's kind of a nice program. You want your turnover rate to be 4.5% or greater. And it's go back a couple of years to take a look at that. So my neighborhood is on the water.
Yeah.
Right. And the turnover rate has been very, very low.
Sure.
People who have sold have gotten a lot of money, but that turnover rate is very low. And it's year after year. I've researched it, and it's just low. People don't move. They love the neighborhood. They love the water. They love just
a lot of pluses there.
A lot of pluses, good schools that, according to greatschools.org. So we check those things out as well. So the competition, turnover rate, where you're located to it, make sure you have something that close to it, whether it's your home, your office, something should be close to it. You don't want to be asking, well, where you located? And you're, 20 miles away from your office, because maybe you don't know that area is good, or maybe they think you don't know that neighborhood as well.
So for the new agents out there, am I too late to the game? I mean, there's, here in Northern Illinois, there's, 20,000 realtors. I don't know. There's a ton.
Right. Absolutely.
Am I late to the game to start farming? And when should I start farming?
Right. You should start farming whenever your budget and your desire and your energy fits. Right. The reason is a lot of agents are not farming.
Yeah. And
you'd be surprised on how many areas are open for that. There is an expense to it. So you should mail to the area at least twice a month, preferably 4 times a month when you're first starting. So once a week, you should be sending a postcard out, getting introduced, and then you should set up searches for the neighborhood. Anything that's active, you should set up to check any status changes. So if something goes from under contract to reactivated, that's something you would know. Something, if one closes, that would go in your next postcard potentially.
Okay.
Right? Basically saying, hey, this is what's the activity's been in your neighborhood. So we've had 3 houses sell, one for 300, one for 350, one for 340. Average sale price 343. Right.
Yeah.
So that way gives people an idea of what's happening in their neighborhood, setting up market reports and such. But on that postcard, so you want to know all the activity that's happening there. Anything that's canceled, expired, you want to be on those. You want to set up searches on other websites looking for sale by owners, because those are a great resource to start communicating with folks and seeing how you can help them best. And sometimes you'll get the listing, sometimes you won't. Maybe they'll sell it by owner, but they're going to remember that you were helpful during that time, and the neighbors will too. And neighbors talk usually. Some don't. Some don't talk.
Right.
Right.
And now this is what I would say is an old school style of building your business. Or is it, what's old is new and what's new is old, but with email, with everything out there as well, I've noticed that a lot of emails are set up to catch quote unquote spam.
Yeah, absolutely.
And this could be considered that.
Yeah. So there are some spam acts that you have to follow. If you're mailing, calling, or emailing somebody, You don't have their express permission, or they're on a do not call list. There's actually a do not mail list as well, that most people don't know. And there's a do not text list. So you got to be very careful about how you're communicating with people. You want to set that up straight up front. Is check who's on those lists and don't send them stuff. Don't call them. Don't text them. Don't email them. Don't
Stay away.
That is very serious,
Yeah.
and you'll get some serious fines and such. And as for spam, there's agents that are sending me offers and offers I've sent who winds up in their spam folder,
Mhm.
because it looks like marketing, right?
Right.
But it's really an offer for their home. So you're calling them up and saying, "Hey, did you receive my offer?" And they're like, "No." Like, "Oh,
Yeah.
where's it at?" So always, and this is off topic, but whenever you send an offer, make sure you call and confirm with that agent that they've received it.
Okay.
So,
So what type of info you're saying? Maybe once a quarter, once a month, you're throwing something out there.
yeah, minimum twice a month.
Twice a month.
Twice a month.
So what am I sending? What am I what seeds am I planting? I guess.
Right. So there's
Yeah.
a number of seeds you're planting. Is one, there's different farms people do. Some people send animals, and calendars and sports schedules and postcards and such. I'm not a big fan of those. I know that the postcard companies sell them and people are using them and maybe being successful with that. I like to set myself up and you always have to have a call to action on it. Whatever you send out, whatever you do, put a call me today, call now, how can we help? Get in touch with us at, whether it's a website, wherever you go. Because that's fantastic. But you have to put a call to action every time. You're mailing out about twice a week or so, depending on what system you're using. There's so many different companies you can use for mailers right now. I'm using Prospect Plus right now, and then there's Postcard Mania I like as well. But they're doing a good job. And the postcard you should send out should not be, in my opinion, 3x4 size of an envelope. It should be bigger. It should be a little bit awkward so it sticks out in the mail. So at least they have to look at it for a second before they throw it right in the garbage, right? And that does happen sometimes. So as you're sending out postcards, make sure you got a call to action. You want to position yourself as the neighborhood expert. So you want to know what's going on in their community, in their area. So you want to put maybe what's sold, what's closed, what's currently active. By the time it hits the mail, it might be sold, but at least it'll be there. Once you become the neighborhood expert, you also want to put in things that are happening in the community. Are they having a neighborhood garage sale coming up? Is there something going on in the community? Fireworks in town tonight. So you want to be that resource that they can come to you with all their questions.
Sure.
If garbage day changes, that's something you should know. If we just got a new garbage company by us. I said, "Oh, hey,
we did
garbage
too.
company
Starting in August.
just started. Ours started this week, actually. This today.
Ours starts
June 1st,
ours starts in
actually.
August. So or like in my neighborhood, the Shores. It's not quite my neighborhood. I'm on the outside of the Shores, but there's some roads that are tore up. So you would and they're resurfacing it. So is that something that you would use?
Absolutely.
In your farming efforts?
Absolutely. So you want for roads are going to be tore up, so you want to let them know that, encourage them to get through that. It's temporary. I know the roads are tore up, but it's temporary. They're going to be beautiful when they're done. I look forward to that. Right. They have to give them things to look forward to. You never want to oh man, the roads are tore up. That stinks. You want to be like, hey, short term, this is going to be amazing. It's going to look beautiful in the future, and let them know that, we're going to get past it.
Right.
I know they're going to be tearing up 31 here, and that's going to be a mess. But when it's done, it's going to really, they're widening it. It's going to be.
It's not going to take you 2 hours to get through here. Yeah.
Right. So short-term discomfort for the long-term gain. Right. And that's farming too. Farming is short-term discomfort, expenditures to get a long-term gain. And as you're sending those postcards out, the call to action is very important. And knowing the size of your farm. And we talked about 500 to 1,000. We talked about postcard companies we use. We use the Postcard Mania and Postcards Plus or Prospecting Plus, is the cost. The cost varies from company to company and the size of the material that you send and the frequency you send it. And many companies have a discount for setting up a farm. So if you set up a farm, I know Prospect Plus will give you codes that, hey, we'll give you some money off for a farm because it's a long-term thing. And they have 6 or 8 postcards in a row that you can pick that will automatically go out at the next schedule. You don't have to go in there every week and be like, all right, I'm gonna do this week. This, you set it and forget it. Just remember it's coming out of your accounts every week because they bill you when it goes out. They don't bill you all up front.
Right.
I almost prefer they bill you up front because that way you know. But if you budget for it, and I'm sure everybody's using some sort of financial software to keep track of where their funds are at.
Yep.
Or at least I hope you are.
And of course, you're tuned in to the Neighborhood Pulse here in 21.6 The Net, brought to you through the financial support of our good friends over at Mobile Accounting Inc. 224-321-6859 or www.mobile.tax, where he'll bring the accounting to you. You don't have to gather up all your stuff and run to his office. He's mobile. He'll come to you. And of course, Kevin, if people want to learn more about you and what you do, they can go to the kevincallbackgroup.com.
Yep. kevincallbackgroup.com. It's amazing. Great website.
Great
check
website.
it out today, man.
I don't know what you did, but I didn't know these towns look so good.
That's right. Yeah, those are our towns. Yeah, we had the aerial guy go out.
Yeah, they're beautiful shots. They really are.
Living on the water is a blessing for sure.
It is.
It is crazy stuff. And so we talked about budget, sending things out,
Right.
set it and forget it. Know your budget.
So as a and then not to give away your secret sauce, I guess, but a lot of, as you say, there's not a lot of realtors doing the farming right now. What kind of budget would you set? Is it 10%? Is it $20 a week? You know what I mean? What
Right,
is it?
Yeah. So it depends on the size of your farm. So if you're doing 500 postcards, and you're doing jumbo postcards and such, you could spend, $80 to $1 per card.
Yeah.
Because you got to count postage, you got to count the card itself, and then the manpower to get it out. Another way of doing it is every door direct mail. So when you're talking about budget, if you're doing, so let's get back to the question actually. So if you're doing 500 and it costs you 90 cents postcard to send them out, you're talking $450, right? A week. So that's $1,000 a month. So maybe you start with a smaller one, 250 or 300 if that's your budget.
Sure.
But get going and get started is really the key. Now, a cheaper way and a better way to do that is to do, I don't know why that's doing that, is to do every door direct mail. Every door direct mail is, you order the postcards, they're sent to you. You have to make sure that when they're printed, they have the little indice on there that says everyday direct mail and has a license number on it. Because if it's not on there, you're not gonna be able to do it. You're gonna have all the stacks of postcards that you're gonna have to handwrite deliver and put stamps on them. So you don't want to do that. So you're gonna take that and you're gonna go to the post office with those. You bundle them up by route, and you go to the United States Postal Service website. There's an everyday direct mailer tutorial. You put in a address, you put how many homes around that address you want to send to. It'll tell you what routes they are and how much it would cost to mail to those areas. So you bundle them up by the postcard's recommendation by route, and they give it to the postman that works that route, and every house on his route is one of your postcards, right? So it usually says, or current resident, resident or occupant, or at my house, I'm occupant, my son is resident. So we know whose mail is whose. But so you send that out. So the everyday direct mail is a lot more affordable. It can go out in bulk, and it's much more for a little more time consuming. But if your business isn't ramped up and you're not running 100 miles an hour, it's the best way to do it. Most affordable anyway.
That's good. Now, when it comes to harvesting, again, how much are you hoping to harvest?
Right. Yeah. Initially nothing. Right.
Okay.
So this is not a short-term gain here. And it could be. I mean, it could be.
You might hit somebody at the right time.
Yeah. A lot of it is timing, right? As you go through it, you need to be farming probably 3 to 6 months before you start to see any activity, maybe a little bit longer. So you could have thousands of dollars invested. Yeah. But when it does start to work, it typically starts to flow in pretty well. And you start working, number of deals per year that well outweighs the expenses of the mailings and the postage and such.
Yeah. So, I mean, a lot of us, when we are hungry for corn, we don't go to the particular farm. We just hope that they've done their job
Right.
and it's on the shelf.
Absolutely. That's right. There you go.
Right. So,
That's right.
so as so what you're doing is you're planting those seeds. You're becoming a neighbor to them. You're becoming commonplace in their neighborhood,
Absolutely.
without being irritating, so that when they're ready to move or look for that second home or a vacation home or whatever, that you're top of mind.
Absolutely. And even if they're not moving, their kids might be moving out, things like that. That's the other thing you want to look for is lifestyle changes, right?
Yeah.
Did somebody graduate high school? Did somebody get married? Did somebody have a baby? Because those might be indications of people moving. And, farming is not all mailing, so we talk about mailing first because that's what most people think of in the real estate industry when they're talking about farming is send a bunch of postcards and get some business back in your pocket. But there's also some other things. You can try and get phone numbers to call folks. And you want to make sure you use a valid service that does not, that kind of washes them to make sure that they're not on a do not call list.
Scrubs the list.
Scrubs the list, absolutely. Yeah. So you don't want to call anybody on a do not call list. You can use Ben Verified, offers. Again, there's a number of sources out there they can use. Haynes Crisscross Directory. Some of those are at an expense. Remine for us around here in Illinois, it's the back end where it does statistics and shows ownership and size, and it's just a good resource for us. It produces a lot of information for us, and they'll scrub it as well.
Yeah.
So we look at that. So as we're calling people, you want to have something in mind to say when you call them,
right?
And introduce yourself. And I always, when I call them, I say, "Jim, it's Kevin Callback. How are you?" And they're like, "Oh, they think they know you, right?"
Right.
So you want to make sure that you sound friendly. You're not scared. You don't be apprehensive. Like your old buddies.
Right.
And they said, "Hey, just want to let you know I'm in the neighborhood. Want to see if you or anyone you know is thinking about moving in the next year." But you can start out with a tidbit. "Hey, I wasn't sure if you knew we got street sweeping is schedules being changed, garbage changing, construction. This event is coming up." So a lot of different things.
This time of year, every time it's so weird now, I guess. Can farming be considered putting your name on a Little League shirt?
Yeah, it could be farming, sure.
A bit.
It could be, yeah. If it's your local team and stuff like that, it's kind of like farming. But you don't know where those kids live. They may or may not be in your farm, right?
Right.
Farming, but it's good name and brand recognition.
Okay.
But it's probably not selling houses.
Right.
So you want to be that expert that reaches out, in calling people, hand delivering items.
Yeah.
When a FSBO for sale by owner comes on the market or a FSBO, you want to be the first person there. First day they go live, you want to be over there talking to them. "Hey, how can I help you? How's your day going? Can I preview your home?" You probably have a buyer, right? In this market, we probably have a buyer that wants to buy it anyway. So it's kind of cool.
Right.
I love this market, and you want to create absentee owner list. Your absentee owner is people that own the home, but they live somewhere else.
Yeah.
It could be somewhere else in town. It could be out of state. It could be anywhere. Right.
So it's more of an investment style property for them.
Absolutely.
So it's not their primary residence, as we would call it.
Right. Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's not the primary residence. There are probably no tax exemptions on there. Taxes are usually a little bit higher and such.
Mm-hmm.
So as they're out of state, and when COVID came, some people weren't able to make their rent, and some people were able to get some assistance and such. But some landlords took a beating on that, and as they took a beating on that, they said, "Do we continue to rent it?" When the market started turning over, they're like, "I'm selling. I'm out. I'm out." Right. And now people that have hung on to them and stuck through it have said, "Wow, I'm glad I stuck to it," because rentals are higher than they've ever been. House prices are higher than they've ever been. So they go kind of hand in hand. And people are able to pay their bills again. So just a lot of people are back to work. Some people are not. And, we're sorry about that. But I am super glad that people are that hung on to them. Right.
Yeah.
And if you have an investment property now and you're looking to sell it, there's a lot of buyers out there because we see this.
Yeah.
I envision this rental market, staying at a high level. because there's just such a demand for it, and there's not enough rentals out
Oh yeah,
there for
and a lot of
folks.
first-time home buyers are now starting to look at that too, right? Hey, if I could buy a duplex.
That's exactly right.
So in the past few years, I would say 3 to 5 years, there wasn't an appetite for first-time home buyers for that.
Right, absolutely. I think it was a very small percentage
Right.
of people were saying, you know what, maybe I buy a 2-flat. I live on the first floor, I have the second floor, pay off my mortgage
Right.
while I'm living here, right? And that is an amazing way to do it. You know, a duplex, a 2-flat, a 3-flat, 4-flat, whatever
Yeah.
you can buy and afford, and you can buy those FHA.
Yes.
Right, so you can live in it, buy an FHA conventional. You can pay cash for it, obviously.
2 to 4. So you can go 2 to 4
4s,
unit
mhm.
as long as you're using one of those units as your primary.
Yep, has to be absolutely.
You have to live in it. Yeah. And that's there. That is it's a great way to get into your first home and
Right.
build some equity and maybe build a revenue stream down the line.
Absolutely, because as that starts getting paid off and your income, now you rent that unit out that you were living in. You buy your next house, that one now has become income, right? So
Yeah.
it is amazing, and house prices are stable. I don't think they're going anywhere anytime soon. Even though gas prices are $5.50 a gallon here in Illinois,
Yeah.
which I'm kind of shocked by that. But hey, what are you gonna do? And then door knocking. Door knocking is not a bad idea. Take a Saturday morning and start strolling down, knocking on doors. You can do a number of different things. We got pens with our names on them. We've got stirring spoons. We've got pizza cutters. We got a whole bunch of different things. So we got these wooden spoons with our logo on it. Say the market's stirring. So we put a little note on it, as we hand them out. Pizza cutters. We're a cut above the rest. Come work with us. And then again, you always want to put that call to action on those. And when you're not door knocking, that really, for people that are receptive to it, really builds a different relationship. I mean, it's much better than a phone call. It's better than a mailer. And you're in front of them. You're talking to them. You're answering their questions, their concerns. Some people are very concerned about the market. Some people are very happy about the market. But everybody has questions about the market. No matter who you are. Anybody says, "Oh, you're a realtor?" They say, "How about?" And they want to tell you the story of what's happened with them. Where have they been? Where are they going?
Well, and you're not really out there selling. You're just out
Yeah.
there meeting people, and,
Right.
let them know.
Absolutely.
Oh, I got a couple of your postcards.
Yep,
You're that
absolutely.
guy.
Yep. And it's good to put a face with a name and a voice and such, so they know that you're not just this big figure in a postcard.
Yeah, right.
It's a personal business, and that's what real estate is. Real estate is relationships, as we say every episode. Relationships builds business, and business builds up.
Oh boy, you ain't kidding.
Yeah, that's it. So when you're doing your marketing, you want to make sure, whatever it is, whether you're doing your mailers, you're doing your door knocking, you're doing phone calls, you want to set that up in a calendar. So you want to say, okay, I'm going to start farming on June 10th.
Yep.
Today's June 3rd. So in 1 week, how long does that postcard take to get out? So you want to know what the delivery time is. So you can follow that up with the phone call or the door knocking or what have you. There's a number of different ways to send it. You can send it standard, you can send it first class, or you can do it everyday direct mail. And all those work, but they all have different delivery time frames.
Yeah.
So you want to make sure that you pay attention to those, so you know when it's going to hit the doors, so you know when to follow up. That's one thing. Also, you want to know when your deadline is, when the postcard's going out, and when you're creating it. Because if you're watching the market, and you have those searches set up in the MLS, showing you what's active, what's sold, what's expired, what's canceled, and you're sending that information to your clients, you've got to update that as close to the delivery date or the print date as possible, because that date becomes old real fast.
Real fast.
It sells. That sold 2 weeks ago. Yeah, and so you want to try and be relevant, right?
Right.
Right. So we got a lot of that. So make sure you know your calendar. Make sure you know your schedule, what things are going out, what print date is, so you can have the information to them. The printer's deadlines. You have to send you a proof back. So there's time in creating that postcard that you need to pay attention to as well. And then make sure as you're farming that you have the right information on there. You have to have your name. You have to have your broker's name. Your broker's name now has to be as big as or bigger than your name. The office address has to be on there. It has to be the managing broker address, not your home office or satellite office. And then you want that call to action. So you want all those things on there to make sure that you're compliant. Being compliant is very important because if somebody reports you, there's fines involved, as you know.
Right.
So that's kind of crazy. So two times per month minimum, 3 to 4 is much better.
Yeah.
So you got your mailers, you got your calls, you got your door knocking, which is all great ways to do it. And then you want to create the absentee and reach out to those folks too. Like we're talking about, now is a good time. If somebody's looking to sell an investment property, they'll probably get the most amount of money for it right now. It seems like, right? Because there's a big demand for it. And short sales and foreclosures has started to trickle into our market. And as those happen, those people will not be able to buy, they'll have to rent. So I'm hoping that that's not a big number of people that are losing their homes. But there could be a big push for rentals in the future, for sure.
Yep.
So you also want to provide, have your own social media page. You want to invite people to come to it and to like it. You want to provide useful information on that web page for your farm. And it could be a private group or a public group as people sign up and are invited to it. So they can check in, and you should know all the garage sale dates on there because that's huge. And there you could create a garage sale website that you just announce different garage sales in the neighborhood there, because people do enjoy getting on those, watching them, and seeing where they go. If you can get emails, that's better. Not better, but it's a good way to communicate with people. Make sure they're not you're not spamming them. And 2, send out relevant information that's going to meet their needs, and they're not on do not email list. There is the old-fashioned handwritten note, the lost arts. Right? Yeah, man. Handwritten notes are always great. You don't get them very often anymore. In fact, my kids, they get a card from grandma, and they're like, "Can you read this to me? Because I can't read cursive." So cursive is an old art too, right?
Right. Big time.
Absolutely. And then you want to have a presentation. You want to have a presentation that when you meet folks, you know what you're going to say. You don't want to be caught off guard, and you want to know the market, and you want to know that area. And when they're telling your story, you'll hear some good stories, you'll hear some sad stories, and just connect with people on that level, knowing that you care, for sure. As you build those relationships, every conversation should end with, at least if not once, twice, 3 times, you should try and close 3 times, just asking, do you know anybody thinking about buying or selling in the next 12 months? It's not, if you're saying, do you know anybody looking to buy or sell right now? Sometimes people get scared and don't want to answer. But if you say, in the next 12 months, do you know anybody looking to buy or sell? They're a little more receptive to that and say, well, my cousin might sell or might buy, or we've been thinking about it, but probably not till next year. So it gives you a little more insight to where they're at and who they know and what's going on, which is good. You should have your pre-listing, your listing tools sharpened up, right? So if they have, they say, well, what information do you have for me? I have a little information packet with you that you can provide them. We send out seller packs to folks that have an inquiry about selling their home, and it has a little bit of information about us, a little bit about who we are, some nice things people had to say about us, some certifications we have, and how we can help them best.
Yep.
And that's, in a nutshell, that's pretty much what they need to know. They want to know who you are, what you do, what do you know, and do you know anything? So that's the key.
Yeah, and I like the fact that you say this is a marathon. It's not a sprint.
Absolutely.
Just because I'm starting to plant seeds doesn't mean my phone's going to start ringing. So, as you started doing this and understanding that as a salesperson, it's tough. As a marketer, it's different. What were some of the things that you kind of told yourself, or how did you work through? Man, I'm putting all this in and my phone's not ringing, because that's going to happen.
It is. It's just like cold calling, right? You're making phone calls and people are no. There's a lot of rejection and such. And it's an investment of your time. It's proven to work and it's been used for years and years and years. I think people are afraid of it for a couple of different reasons. One is there is that upfront expense. You don't get to see an instant payback. Two, you at some point you start thinking, this ain't working. Am I wasting my money? And many agents quit too soon. Is if you stop sending out and you've been doing it for 4 months, boy, you're on the cusp. You're on the cusp there. Keep going, push through.
Yeah.
It's gonna be okay, right? It's like, oh my gosh. Yeah. So don't quit too soon. Be okay with rejection, and just be open to having conversations. Try not to be afraid of having those conversations that dig into people's lives and get to know them a little bit deeper. And don't be afraid of sharing who you are. You know, who you are, your kids, what schools they go to. Common bonds keep people together. You know, so if your kids go to the same school, that's a bond. If you go to the same church, that's a bond. If you live in the same neighborhood, that's a bond.
Yep.
Right? So all of those things come up all the way. And the other thing you want to do is once you got the farm that you're going to be working, is put them all into a CRM. That CRM is going to keep track of who's in there as people move, and you have your search set up for that area. As they move, you can check that one off and figure out who's in there now, and then put that in the CRM. So you know who's reaching out, who's in there. You start learning people by name as you continue to reach out, touch base, ring doorbells. You start to get to know these people on a personal level.
I love it. Yeah.
Yeah, man. Perfect your presentation. Know what you're going to say when you get there. Gated communities. Those are tough.
Yeah.
You have to meet and build a relationship with the guard at the gate. They are the gatekeeper. Their job is to keep you out, and your goal is to get in. So you try and build that relationship with them or somebody in the community that can get you in the gate, so you can do some of these things. Attend association meetings, but only get involved with the fun stuff. Don't get involved with controversial topics, because that's not going to end well for you at all. People are heated. Disagreement. Two people have different viewpoints, and whatever side you pick, the other side is not going to care for you. So try to just be involved in the fun stuff, the picnics, the pool parties, the garage sale, the monthly garage sale, yearly garage sale, whatever the case is. Another thing we do is for farming is we have garage sale signs. We have our logo on there and our name. Put garage sale signs pointing to their house on garage sale day. One, they save some money. They don't have to buy them. Two, if we're able to, we have the time and the bandwidth, we'll put those signs up for them the day before, and then we'll pick them up after the garage sale as well. And that is a huge help, and that really brings a lot of people together. They're impressed by that being done. So again, that's another expense. Signs right now, we just priced them out by us. For 30 signs, they were $15 a piece. So $450 for 30 signs. It's an expense, but it pays off in the long run. So that's kind of cool. You want to see if you can get into family nights, Easter egg hunts, holiday parties, any of the neighborhoods there, get involved with those too. Those are kind of cool. If you have a high rise in your area, try and again, get past, if they have a superintendent or a doorman, try and get past those folks. Look for people that you might know inside the building. Maybe they can get you in the building to start making those introductions. And there's often a number of FSBOs in there because it's kind of a tight-knit group in the high rises, and everybody knows everybody in some cases, and they're able to sell them by owner, because in some of these buildings around here, there is a wait list. People are waiting for something to open up to get in there. So work them aggressively, and show them the National Association of Realtors statistics that say how much more seller gets when they work with an agent rather than selling it by themselves. And some of the other skills you bring to the table, negotiations. You're going to get them involved with the attorney. You're going to make sure they don't get sued. You're going to make sure they don't create any ethics complaints. They don't discriminate. There's just a lot of things that we offer that they don't know. They think, well, you just take 5% or 6%, 7%, 8%, and all you do is put a sign in my yard and it sells. That's it.
Yeah.
There's a lot more to it than that.
A lot more.
As we all know. But that's it. Have you done any farming, Kent?
I grew up in Iowa, so not the kind that you're thinking of. But I network more than farm. Maybe that's a topic for another show.
That's it. That's it. We didn't get to the safety items, but watch out for dogs and stuff like that.
That's right.
Amen. I love this song.
Don't go too far away from your car. If you're out there door to door, always remember safety first. Hey, you have been listening to the Neighborhood Pulse with Kevin Callback from our good friends over at Realty Executive Cornerstones. You can find him at it's just kevincallbackgroup.com. Great stuff. Thanks for tuning in. Swing back at 3, 4 in the know with Steph and Joe. Until then, folks, remember to be good. More importantly, be good to each other.
Amen.